A big stock market crash is coming, and with or without tariff and trade war damage, we will have an economic recession. The bigger question is how people react and the violence that may result. With our politically divided country, a bad recession could result in looting, widespread loss of law and order, violence, possibly even civil war. Recent stock market plunges driven by tariff and trade war risks and fears of a recession have led to economists raising their estimate of a recession over the next 12 months, with Goldman Sachs calling Trump's economic policies the key risk. Inflation and growth in the cost of living has put more people in dire straits, while the rich-poor gap has expanded. The bottom half of Americans have just 2% of the nation's wealth. A 2025 Forbes report found that even among skilled professionals, 73% were unable to afford anything beyond basic living expenses, with salaries failing to keep up with inflation and an inability to save. An expert cited in the Forbes article called it, quote, a perfect storm of stress, dissatisfaction, and instability in the workforce, unquote. Over the past 5 years, the cost of living has risen faster than wages, leading to a decline in real earnings. When a recession is feared or has started, all organizations, not just companies, fire workers to cut costs so they can survive. And with artificial intelligence already promising massive job eliminations, it could be a bloodbath of job cutting. With our massive national government debt, which is several times larger than the officially admitted $36 trillion debt reported, and with huge state and local debts in many Democratic Party-controlled states and cities, an economic recession will lead to tax receipts plummeting while the cost of servicing our debt grows. In a recession with substantial national debt, paying interest will be very difficult since lower economic output means less government revenue. The government can't afford to give out handouts to unemployed like they did during COVID. Our debt is too big, but millions will demand it and get violent when it doesn't come. It could get far worse since the BRICS countries are working to undermine the dollar, and with Trump's actions to outrage and alienate historic allies, the dollar might lose its privileged position and face huge devaluation. In a bad recession or depression, many Americans may get violent. Some will start looting. Political protests will definitely occur, and these are often used as opportunities to loot. With social media able to quickly spread rumors, promote violence, and coordinate flash mobs, relatively minor protests or disasters can spiral out of control. There is a mobile app, Collapse Survivor, that does education and training simulations, and several scenarios on this app have dealt with uncontrolled looting that overwhelms police. The average supermarket has just a few days' worth of food on their shelves, and that can all be looted in an hour. With looting and violence, don't expect trucks to drive into the city to deliver replacement food. Do expect that social media and podcasts will spread the message of fear, and more people will join in the looting, afraid to be left with nothing. Looting may quickly spread to home break-ins and marauding. If you think this is alarmist, remember that many big cities already are experiencing smash and grab gangs when there isn't any shortages. The Army National Guard is already deployed in New York City's subway because violent crime can't be controlled by police. With the defund police movement and attacks on police, there are fewer policemen available today. If looting and home marauding gets violent, more police will quit, staying home to protect their families. Our society today is fractured and ready for violence. Because of continuity of government policies, when any collapse event occurs, elected officials will get additional police protection, leaving fewer officers available to protect citizens. Police can be easily overwhelmed when lots of people start looting. We've seen this many times in our country and in other civilized nations. 1 million known gang members in the U.S. will use political unrest and protests to commit crimes. We don't have enough police or even National Guard troops to stop looting. Looting stores can quickly expand into home break-ins and widespread marauding when police are overwhelmed. The United Kingdom experienced 4 days of nightly violence, looting, arson, attacks on businesses and police, and this happened without any underlying cause. People just started looting, it spread via social media, and kept happening. There is already wide support for killing CEOs of big companies. Elon Musk is a hero to many Americans, a villain who deserves to die, according to others' points of view. Will a violent, bad recession lead to civil war? Trump blames inflation and economic troubles on the Biden administration. Democrats will definitely blame Trump and Musk for the recession. People will protest, violence and looting will result. Will it spiral out of control and lead to civil war? Ray Dalio, the founder of the massively successful Bridgewater hedge fund, made his fortune by correctly predicting future events. He warned that U.S. civil war is likely, a greater than 50% likelihood. Do not expect our divided, angry, and well-armed society today to respond to depression peacefully as we did in the 1930s. In sum, an economic recession in our bitterly divided society with massive national debt could lead to big protests, violence, looting that can escalate uncontrollably into societal collapse with widespread and potentially long-lasting loss of law and order.